Representation is a concept we all know and have, in one way or another. All races and communities have it, some more than others, though. The community with the least amount of representation, though, would have to be the LGBTQ community. I myself am a part of this community, and growing up, I didn't have many people to look up to other than my mother. Our representation sucks, despite our recent appearance throughout the years on media. So today, I am here to talk to you guys about why our representation sucks, the representation we have, though, and the real shame of this all. I'm going to be blunt. Our representation is the worst. It's to the point where it feels as if we're not even there, despite being there. In the GLAAD, Where We Are on TV report in 2017, it shows that we are less than 10% of regular characters in TV shows and media, which sucks so much because that was way less back growing up. So it was near impossible. The only character I could even think of being a role model to me is a character from Grey's Anatomy, though I don't remember her name, sadly enough. But despite having little to no representation or role models to look up to growing up, that didn't stop my mother from doing the best that she can. And luckily, nowadays she doesn't have to do that as much and put such a strain on herself, for we have some pretty nice representation now, though. Despite such low representation, we are still lucky enough to have such amazing people on the screens creating and showing that we are here, such as RuPaul, Ellen DeGeneres, Ryan Murphy, Rebecca Sugars, and many more. Due to my time constraint, I will sadly not be able to cover much, but I would like to cover at least Rebecca Sugars and Ryan Murphy. Rebecca Sugars is a Cartoon Network animator who has her own show called Steven Universe. She has been through many interviews, but one that stands out the most is the one she did with Corin Siegel on September 4th, 2018, where Sugar states LGBTQ stories are not considered G-rated content, and because they're kept out of children's media. This is saddening, for it mostly occurs to the fact that our relationships are not heterosexual relationships. And there have been many, many, many heterosexual relationships, romance stories told over and over and over again. Yet it is the change of same-sex relationships that make these stories, quote-unquote, not G-rated. This is okay because Rebecca's show is still up to this date. And luckily, according to Nick Romaine on August 31st, 2018, it was the first same-sex proposal seen on a mainstream children's show. It was quickly followed up by the marriage of the two characters. This is great because Rebecca could have chose to make her characters any gender, yet she chose to make this a queer, positive show. Through it all, though, when I find either a gay or lesbian actor for your gay and lesbian role, and then vice versa, like you can't find a straight actor or actress for your straight roles, that's completely fine. For there have been cases where even LGBTQ actors have played straight roles, such as Neil Patrick Harrison. But the real problem is when it comes to trans actors and characters. On September 4th, 2018, David Ortiva conducted an interview with Ryan Murphy, an LGBTQ producer. In the interview, Ortiva discusses Murphy's recent show, Pose. Within the interview, Murphy has stated all trans roles are played by trans actors, because he hopes this show will do what Glee had done for queer teens. It is a great thing Murphy has done for this in many scenarios where non-trans actors were not hired. As an example, Scarlett Johansson recently took a role as a trans man for a movie which name has not been released yet. On July 5th, 2018, Nicole Chavez covered this topic along with giving a list of trans actors who could have played the role. I had went along and actually looked up a few of the actors and seen some bits that they've done. And I agree, they definitely could have played the role. Trans actors should be allowed to play trans roles. I mean, who better to play a trans character than a trans actor? Only they will understand what a character has gone through deep down. It has been one of their own experiences in life. At the end of all of this, nothing really compares to the real shame of how we managed to lose most of our representation, though. Movies and TV shows stay out on the air and in theaters based off of views. If it's not doing good in views, it gets taken out of the theater, or they completely stop showing it on television. The mix of already low representation and parents who simply do not want their children watching shows that have queer themes on the account that it might turn them gay is honestly probably the saddest part of this all. The fact that since there are so many people against it, just that alone is enough to make sure we're not on air. Enough to make sure other kids out in the world don't see characters that they can look up to in the future. I've had my own aunt completely deny my cousins watching queer-themed shows, yet will gladly put on shows such as South Park on for them, despite them only being in 5th grade tall. My aunt has even come into our house, took the remote out of my hand, and changed the show, for she was afraid her children would return gay. Rude, I know, right? But at the same time, I'm used to it at this point, so whatever. I mean, I've had kids in my past schools who will hear me talking about some show that might even just have one queer character in it, and have gone completely off on how it is disgusting, that shouldn't be, and how much they report the show and yada yada yada, despite most of it most likely not being true. I mean, and back to my aunt, because one of my aunts are really just one of the biggest fans of existence at the moment, but she herself has turned friends against my family as well, and all due to our lifestyle and our appreciation for queer themes, characters, and anything that could be representing us in media. Now, I can understand if this really isn't your cup of tea. I mean, I too can become kind of weary of LGBT shows. But that's only sometimes. But I get it. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and everyone can get tired of it from time to time. It's perfectly normal with any show. But I can understand that some people just don't like it. It might make them uncomfortable, or I mean, just because I like something doesn't mean you have to like something. But that does not give people the right to bash upon shows that they haven't seen, or those who may like those shows. On December 27th, 2017, Caesar Aretuas, I can't pronounce that last name. I'm sorry. Brought to attention a tweet by at Og Herbo on Twitter. That read, "In no way am I homophobic, but I really think y'all are trying to force this LGBTQ shit in everybody's lifestyle." I'd like to take this back real quick to the beginning where I mentioned that we were less than 10% of regular TV characters and shows and media. How is 10% shoving this stuff down your throat? If you do not like it, don't watch it. It's a very simple concept. But I bring it to attention this author with this tweet because the following was just too funny to pass up. In which the author called the writer of the tweet a spokesperson for the homophobic fan club. It's too great to pass just bringing that up because it's perfect. Why are you saying that we are shoving our lifestyle down your throat if we're less than 10, if we're not even 10% of what you're viewing? There's no way possible, unless you're purposely putting yourself in the way to watch queer-themed shows. And in this case, it isn't us, it's you. In conclusion, although we might be lacking in our representation, that doesn't mean we have to stand down. Today I covered why our representation sucks, our current representation, and the real shame of it all. With all of this being said, and because we are so few, that doesn't mean we can't do anything. And I can't call this a challenge necessarily, because it shouldn't be a challenge to stand up for people. It shouldn't be a challenge to ask for what's right. Nothing that I'm going to say should be a challenge to someone or anyone, because we need to be louder, prouder, show that we are here and that we are not willing to stand by in the shadows and let everyone else have fun. You should be supporting independent creators willing to put some amazing content out and help represent the LGBT community. And like I said prior, don't back down. Backing down will only make things worse. It'll only show them that they're able to trample over us. We deserve to be represented we deserve representation in media, and we deserve to find those who are willing to accept us. And we will not let anyone get in our way. So thanks for watching/listening.